Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, there we go. I can hear you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the nightly recap powered by Gokhshtein News Network, sponsored by Hoppy. I am Leslie Mota, and tonight I have Hotep G Says. And remember,
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Hotep, you're a genius. Welcome to your trusted source for politics, crypto, and everything in between that makes you question reality and your sanity, my sanity, everyone's sanity. Tonight, we're rolling with Hotep Jesus. But before we give him the mic, I have a quick, funny story to share. Oh
Here we
boy.
go.
So the
How
other
you
day,
escape from an ICE detention center?
I did. And when I escaped, I was doing laundry when I suddenly got a craving for a nice sandwich. Right at that moment, I got a message from Hotep. I opened it, and to my surprise, it was Hotep's chocolate ass cheeks, completely naked in a sandwich costume. I said, "Hey, Chihuahua." And let me tell you, that hit the spot. Anyways, let's focus up, chat. We've got some serious stuff to talk about tonight. But before we do, Hotep, how the hell are...
Did the intern write that?
Who else would write it?
Me and the intern gonna fight. What up, Dave? What up, Hoteps? What up, Landy? Shout out to Landy the goat. Man, listen, yo, the intern gotta cut it out. Butt naked.
He sent me a picture of you in a sandwich today. Because I
That's
told...
insane.
I'm going to have to send it to you in the DMs. You know what? We're getting started. Let me send you this sandwich image that the intern sent.
Do I need to see it?
You do need to see it, Hotep. So you have to see it. Absolutely. Because I don't know if you're going to be upset with the intern. I think David was more upset with the intern than you. And when I send you this image, you'll know why. I send it to your DMs.
It hasn't come through yet. Wait.
I send it on.
Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let me wait. Hold on. This is insane. This is insane. Dave doesn't look too happy in this image. This is ridiculous.
Look at David's eyelashes too.
Why do you put eyelashes on him?
I have no idea, but I mean, what kind of crazy ass shit is that, Hotep?
Y'all gotta leave the AI alone, okay? Tomorrow I'm doing a workshop for all members of menofwater.com. If you have a subscription to Apex, Flow, or Moon, you get to be a part of my workshops. I do workshops on Saturdays, roughly once a month, once every other month. And tomorrow I'm doing a workshop on AI. And what we won't be doing is creating stupid images. Okay. That is haram. You gotta stop fucking playing around with the goddamn AI. It's much better uses of AI. We could be doing mathematical equation, quadratic equations. We could be doing calculus, Bitcoin mining, all types of great stuff. And the best thing y'all can do is come up with cartoons and shit. I'm sick of it.
Hotep, but isn't like cartoon the way? Isn't it, they appeal to the audience? They're funny. They make people laugh. Look at you, like you were having a mentally stressed day, and then I send you a little image, and you laugh and you enjoy it.
I hate it.
You love it, Hotep. Who does who does those images for you that you put on your profile about the nightly recap with you and I?
The graphics guy, he is the best in the world. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the best graphic designer on the planet. Just because he's so fast. He's the fastest, greatest graphics designer on the planet. Renee Vogel. Renee, the graphics guy, he's amazing.
Shout out to Renee, because he always does really badass images of you and I. I don't know how real they are, but you know, they're They're good looking images. So how about those images? I mean, do you have a problem with those?
Has a human element.
Well,
Renee puts his foot in them.
The
Pull it
engine.
up. Pull it up. Pull it up. Pull it.
The-
Pull up the latest image that Renee made. Pull up the
The
latest image that Renee made. This is feng shui. This is avant-garde.
let me see.
Renee is the best in graphics. He is the official graphics guy of Hotepistan. Nobody comes close. He's impeccable. He doesn't even need direction. He just knows. He just intuitively knows what to do. His third eye is wide open.
Okay, let me see if I'm able to get in here.
Do you know how to work the computer?
No, not today. You know, every time that I'm
Lord.
here with you, I have difficulties.
It's Boomer Tech. Boomer Tech at its finest. Dark Side said Kai Cenat's older brother.
But
I wish I was. we gotta make that happen. I gotta get Kai Cenat on the phone and tell people I'm his older brother. That would be great content.
wait, how come my screen went blank?
Because you don't know how to work technology. I told you, leave that AI alone. You don't even know how to work the basic stuff on your computer. Do you want me to do it?
Yes, please.
This is crazy.
I mean, it's
This is
just a way to
absolutely-
help. I'm having difficulties today. Can you just do me the honors of helping me out, putting the image on the screen for us, Hotep?
Hold on, let me
Kind of
Let
like
me-
it when
let
a
me-
man takes charge.
what the hell? What the hell this is? It doesn't let me share. I don't think you gave me permissions.
Wait, how do you not have permissions?
Jesus Christ.
Check Silver Stripes.
Technical difficulties. She just got to this country. She barely knows English. All right, here we go. There it is right there. Can you see it?
Oh, now it's letting you?
Do you see it?
Oh, add to scene.
Can you see it?
I could see it, yes.
There it is. There it is. We are in the midst of the Middle East combat. Me and Leslie Mota, the best in the business. You see, I got my assault rifle with me.
Yep, we see all your...
Scoped out. Leslie's got the casabas out.
Why don't I get a rifle?
You don't need no rifle. You just there for the you just there to
something
scout.
hold. I need a rifle too. I need something to hold.
You got them 2 bazookas. That's all you need. Oh, did you just see the desktop? Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
No, we were able to see your whole desktop. We were able to see it, but we were able to see all of your desktop, everything.
Oh, damn. Well, damn.
Yeah, we saw what you doing up in there.
You saw my porn collection.
Yeah.
Damn.
My intern's I can. He says, Leslie has a setup like she's about to give some massages. What the fuck?
You do have a happy ending set up there.
Well, I mean, it's Friday night endings, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, let's get started. Stable coins coming to aisle 5. Amazon and Walmart are reportedly exploring the launch of their own stable coins.
I am still trying to wrestle with this.
Wrestle
I haven't
with why?
This is I don't think you understand the gravity of the matter. Like nobody's grasping what exactly is happening right now.
I understand
Money.
what's happening.
What do you understand? Tell me what your understanding is.
I understand that they put us in debt once. They took all this stuff away from us, and we're indebted to the government financially, etc. Now they're going to come in and take over digitally our digital IDs. They're going to monitor everything. They're going to really regulate how American, well, not just American, the whole world spends their money. They're going to control the money. And that's, if you're not everything,
compliant.
I think, yeah, you're not going to be able to support yourself, sustain yourself, buy groceries, gas, all that stuff. We're moving to a completely digitized world.
Yeah. So the stable coin, for people that don't know, it's programmable money. They can do all sorts of things like geofencing, et cetera, et cetera. But when I was doing my tracking of the CBDC, because stablecoin is essentially a synthetic CBDC, when I was doing my tracking of this digital money, I think what was most concerning, other than the lack of sovereignty, but it was the adoption, how they go about adoption. And one of the ways that they do adoption is going to be yield. They're gonna give a yield to it. And then now I'm seeing they have Amazon, Walmart, also Shopify. Shopify is also implementing this digital currency.
Didn't
Huh?
Didn't Phantom, the wallet, they also already
Phantom Wallet has added the capability through Shopify. Yep. So the adoption is actually doesn't require much participation, because even when Shopify issued their press release, they said you don't have to do anything. So the adoption is, you might do a CBDC, or I'm sorry, stablecoin transaction and not even know it. Like it'll just be the intermediary. Like you put dollars in, stablecoins will be the railway, and then dollars come out the other side. So the adoption of this is absolutely insane, and everybody's jumping in on it, and everybody's exploring their own potential for stablecoin. At first, I thought this would just be financial institutions, but Amazon and Walmart are like, hey, we might release our own stablecoin, and it's just like, wow, like, so then that means that employees might begin to get paid this way. I think that's another way the adoption is going to happen. And the funny thing is, it's going to have benefits. That's like the main way that they drive adoption, is that it's going to be so convenient, right? So your employer is going to issue, and it's going to say, hey, you guys remember when you had to wait till midnight to get your direct deposit? Well, that's no more. We can pay you hourly, like for real. And people are going to go, oh yeah, it's amazing. Like I will actually get my hourly rate right away. Or, you'll get your on payday, you won't have to wait for the direct deposit to hit. It's a lot of interesting things that can happen, but it's just all about driving adoption.
So you think this is, we are moving closer to the mark of the beast?
Yeah. I mean, we're already on our way there. But this is what Alex Jones warned about. This is the final step. This is it. Programmable money. Directly programmable money.
Mm-hmm. This is, what did Landy say yesterday? The 4th? Can't remember right now. But we were talking about it in space last night a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you were in outer space?
We were in Landy hosted a space last night, late last night. We didn't go to sleep till like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
The grind never stops, Hotep.
You young kids could do that, huh?
I'm not young. I'm around your age.
No, you're not.
I am.
Do you know how old I am?
Yeah, you're 45. Or can 44. I say that about
44? Huh?
44.
44. Sorry, you're near my age?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes, I'm older than David.
You about 32. I had you pegged for like 32. I was like, she's got to be 32. She got 8 kids. She about 32.
As old as you want me to be, Hotep.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go.
Yeah, whatever you want. Up next. Huh?
No, Landy said the 4th turning.
The fourth turning, yeah. We were
What does that
talking
mean?
the fourth turning. Maybe we'll have him come up, you know, when we're done with the news and talk to you about the fourth turning, because it was
Yeah,
very
I'm gonna need him to explain that.
okay. So let's get through the news, and then Landy, when we go to the second commercial of Hoppy, come up. Solana gets ETF treatment. Fidelity has officially filed an S1 to launch a spot Solana ETF. Well, there we go.
That's
Up
bullish news for Solana.
Yeah.
If you're a Solana investor, I think that's bullish news for Solana. That means more liquidity coming in. But I'm happy to hear that. I got a couple of Sol. I got 2 Sol sitting somewhere.
I'm happy that you're happy.
There was no actual genuosity in that. Didn't seem genuine at all.
It was genuine.
Okay.
Iran-Israel war. Complete conflict update. Tensions between Iran and Israel rapidly escalated as Iranian media reported plans for all-out war, while Israeli officials warned the conflict was just beginning. Iran launched multiple waves of ballistic missiles, some directly striking Tel Aviv, overwhelming Israeli defenses and promoting counterstrikes that reportedly caused radioactive contamination. In response, the U.S. repositioned military assets in the region, and U.S. and British fighter jets intercepted Iranian drones. Israel claimed most incoming missiles were intercepted with American support. The Israeli Air Force launched retaliatory strikes, destroying radars and missile systems, and warned operations could last at least 2 weeks. Amid the attacks, Iran withdrew from nuclear talks with the U.S. and Supreme Leader Khamenei, how do you say his name? Leader Khamenei vowed to leave Israel helpless. Why these names? President Pezeshkian. I cannot pronounce these last names. I have difficulties even
I don't
speaking.
know, Sam either.
Good. Finally, we cannot pronounce something together. Promised a powerful response while the Houthis in Yemen fired missiles in solidarity. Israel, in turn, threatened to strike Iran's oil and gas infrastructure. Diplomatic efforts emerged as President Putin offered to mediate. Really? Peace talks. Russia condemned Israel's strike as a UN charter violation, while China called for de-escalation. Oh my God, the trio, China, Russia, Iran, 3 of the biggest threats to the United States of America. I'm saying that's not in the news. Anywho, President Trump claimed Iran had suffered a devastating blow and said Iranian officials reached out privately, though Iran denied backing down. Netanyahu called on Iranian citizens to overthrow their leadership and coordinated with world leaders, including Trump, Putin, and Starmer. As the situation spiraled, Israel reported intercepting all Iranian drones, but new waves of missile attacks continued, leaving the region on the brink of wider war.
Yeah. I was able to get in contact with some of my people in Tel Aviv. I have people in Tel Aviv right now, and I did get word back that they are okay. So I'm happy to hear that some of my people over there in Tel Aviv are okay following the tragic attacks that happened today. But where do you want to go with this, Leslie? I mean, there's so many different ways we can go with this story.
We can go so many different ways. Say prayers for my daughter and the troops she's with. She's actually over there right now in the middle
Is she?
of it. Yeah. So my
What's she
baby,
do? Does she fly fighter jets?
I can't say what she does, but
Oh shit. Damn. Okay. All right.
she could be a target. but she is in the military. She is in the service, and she's currently overseas right now. So prayers to her and, the troops and everybody that's over there that were deployed.
Yeah. Prayer hands in the chat. Prayer hands in the chat for your daughter. So it should be all right. Should be all right. She's on the U.S. side of things, so the U.S. is on top of this. So the U.S. did fly fighter jets. You're saying U.S. and British did fly fighter jets to protect Israel?
The thing is that, look, I think the U.S. already knew that this was going to happen, and they were already preparing for this, because you can't sit there and say, okay, we're going to bring troops back, and then you start deploying troops over there a few weeks prior to all this happening. And some people were like, okay, well, yeah, but they're just rotating troops. I'm like, I understand they rotate troops, but at the same token, they're not just rotating troops, they're also sending troops out. Plus, there was documents currently published in regards to the threat that Iran possesses and the infiltration within the United States, and what they are planning to do. And one of the papers was just published 2000 February. It was published, and it was published by the White House. And it talked about, Iran and how it still remains, one of the biggest threats for the United States of America, not just overseas, but also within our country here in the homeland.
Do you have any questions about this, Leslie?
I actually saw your video.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You saw my video on what happened.
And I am curious, we were in a space this morning, and I don't think that you were really able to articulate yourself or really express or say what you wanted to say based on the questions that we asked and the people that were in the panel. But right now we don't have anybody on a panel. It's just me and you. Very candid conversation, Hotep. Can you elaborate and tell our audience in your own words about the video, your thoughts, what you think, and how you feel?
That video was quite candid.
Right. So we're having a very candid conversation, right?
It was from our podcast, Hotep's Been Told You, on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And, it was in the heat of an argument where I was arguing with Uncle Hotep. And, and I said some choice words. One of them was fuck Iran and fuck the Iranians. And I think what this boils down to is there's a lot of history in that region. Mm-hmm. The West created Israel, right? This follows the Balfour Declaration. This follows the British mandate for Palestine, and I look at Israel as an extension of the West, and many people look at Israel as an extension of the West, and that's essentially what it is. And being that I'm a resident of the West, I'm going to root for the West. When we look at the history of what I would call the Hyksos, they are the reason that African empires were toppled. They partly created the obfuscation of Islam and imposed Islam on our people, our African ancestors. They had a much more brutal form of slavery than any other group of people, and or at least any large empire. So I don't look at them as being good people. Let's just say that. I don't look at them as being good people. But yeah, I'm a resident of the West, so I'm riding with the West. And, as I said before, an empire must expand. If an empire doesn't expand, it will be expanded upon. And in that region, Israel is our representative. And if we are going to compete against Russia or compete against China, then that region is going to be super important, especially because of the resources under the ground in that region. Um, there's biblical ties to this thing. There's historical ties. There's genetic ties. I mean, the Israelis and the Palestinians are practically cousins, according to the Bible and other sources. So it's an intricate subject matter, and but you know,
This
I
is 4 decades in the making. What do you think it's the end goal
the end goal.
for Iran? Or what do they want out of all this? Because I did a little bit of research. I did to try to understand, it's like, okay, where was Iran? At what point, where did they flip? Because my understanding is that the US used to send Iran millions of dollars. And then from one point to another, it's like it flipped. And there is a difference. And I understand that Iran has its own money. And I don't want to say that we held the money hostage, but, we froze it. And then eventually we allowed for them to start using it. No, I'm saying aside from that, US used to send Iran money, millions of dollars, etc.
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with the history, but United States, I mean, the West as a whole has a long history of investing in foreign nations. I mean, we've invested in many of our enemies. We invested in, or I would say, bankers have invested in the Bolshevik Revolution. Investors have invested in Japan. They've invested in China. Um, I would say the modern world was brought into Western civilization with Western dollars because a lot of the other nations, let's just say they didn't do business enterprise like the West, and the West caught them all up to speed. Let's just say,
So let
and
me, I brought up the timeline.
I think
During
it's around the
Eisen,
70s, right?
it goes back to 1953 to 1961. Eisenhower administration, they gave Iran 45 million in emergency aid to Iran's post-coup government after the CIA helped overthrow Prime Minister Mossadegh in 1953. And then Nixon and Ford administration from 1969 to 1977, they did a massive arms sales and military aid to Shah of Iran, billions in weapons, training, and intelligence tech paid with Iranian oil money, but heavily enabled the U.S. credits and agreements. Did you hear that? We gave them billions in weapons, training, and intelligence tech.
Yeah.
Reagan administration, 1981 to 1989, secretly sold arms to Iran despite an embargo and funneled the money to Nicaraguan rebels, the Contras. Amounts vary, but millions in weapon sales were authorized in exchange for hostage releases. Obama administration, 2009 to 2017, 1.7 billion total to Iran in January 2016, 400 million cash in euros, francs, etc., plus 1.3 billion in interest. Payment was part of the legal settlement over an arms deal from the 1970s that was canceled after the revolution. Coincided with the release of American prisoners, critics called it a ransom. The administration denied that. Also released frozen Iranian assets as part of the Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA, which then Trump came and revoked it, right? And then during the Biden administration, they approved the unfreezing of $6 billion in Iranian oil revenue held in South Korea banks, moved to Qatar for humanitarian purposes in 2023 as part of a prisoner swap. The administration insisted U.S. taxpayer money was not involved, but critics argue it freed up Iran's other funds. So, what the hell is the U.S. doing partaking with the enemies? Why are we in bed with the devil?
This is you trying to get the black vans to pull up on me. Oh man. How do I say this? Oh yeah. So are you familiar with Al Qaeda?
I am familiar with Al Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah. And have you ever heard?
Who funded Al Qaeda?
I would say part of the U.S. government.
Yes, we funded Al Qaeda. Yes, we definitely funded Al Qaeda. Yeah. So with Iran, I'm not exactly sure the specificities, but it's usually the same game plan where um, there's somebody that is in charge and we don't want them in charge. So we fund the rebels, so-called rebels. And in the media says, okay, we have to help the rebels. Then those rebels take over, right? And once those rebels take over, then they become replaceable, let's just say. So now the rebels take over, the media shifts the narrative and says, okay, these are bad guys. A lot of it is about destabilizing regions, destabilizing governments, so that you can come in later with a coup and just take over, and you can own the land and resources, et cetera, et cetera. But we tend to fund the rebels, and then the rebels take over. And if the rebels don't do what we say, which often happens, and we're fully aware that they probably won't cooperate, they become collateral damage.
You know the crazy. Sorry, go for it.
No, go ahead.
To me, what I found very interesting is that, you know, in the media, we show how we're trying to strike deals with China, Russia, and then, you know, recently with with Iran, you know, but there was a paper that was printed directly from, I want to say, let me look it up because I wrote a lot, from the DHS.gov. And part of the paper, this is what it stated, but then we're getting in bed with these people. We expect state actors will continue to pose a host of threats to the homeland and public safety. Specifically, China, Iran, and Russia will use a blend of subversive, undeclared criminal, and coercive tactics to seek new opportunities to undermine confidence in U.S. democratic institutions. Now, this paper, it is, let me see, when it was published, it was, it was part of a Homeland Threat Assessment, which they printed one for 2024, 2025. And it's about the PRC, Russia and Iran, and will remain the most pressing foreign threats to our critical infrastructure. It also stated that among state actors, they expected Iran to remain the primary sponsor of terrorism and continue its efforts to advance plots against individuals, including current and former U.S. officials in the United States. Because they was talking about like the sleeping cells or the sleepers here in Iran, but it also included China and Russia in that paper that are also a big threat to our country, outside and inside, within the homeland. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, you see, as long as there's a threat, there's an excuse. So, you know, coming back to what we were saying before, you know, sometimes you fund the threat so you have an excuse to enter into war and
you fund the threat, you give them military assets, military equipment, military vehicles, firearms, all of that. Make sense.
It's part of colonization. It's modern colonization. They've gotten a lot smarter and more intelligent with how they take over countries. Sometimes through color revolution, et cetera. But um, it's sometimes it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if there is an enemy, then you create an enemy or fund the enemy. You train them, you arm them, because a lot of these people were, some of these rebel groups were trained by CIA or other groups, Marines, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah,
Do you think that the government's probably funding some of these sleepers here in the United States, some of these terrorists that are within the states? Because my conspiracy theory is that, we allowed that door to be open, especially with the last administration, where they were not monitoring any of these people coming in. It's like, you know what, open the doors, turn your blind eye, and then let all these people in. Now they're here. So if it is so easy to fund them and send millions, billions of dollars, where it is publicly, done right in our face, there's documentation, it's printed on their government sites, what are they doing behind the scenes that we don't know and we can't see and we're not previewed to? Have you ever heard of something called the Black Budget?
Yeah. The Black Budget is basically money allocated to the military industrial complex where you're not allowed to know what they do with the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, anywho.
They do whatever they want. They get a certain budget. It's called a black budget. And this was supposed to be, some people were saying Doge was going to uncover the black budget. And I'm like, Doge is not about to uncover the black budget. Like, we got to stop pretending like that's going to happen. It's not happening. It's a black budget for a reason. And the truth of the matter is, a black budget should exist.
It should?
It should. Absolutely.
Why?
We had hope. Why? Like, why would you tell people? Why would you make it public information what your military is planning? Like, that's just not good tactical awareness. So
no, I get that. I understand.
It could be scary, but at the same time, it's a prerequisite. Your military definitely needs a black budget. You don't want to be like, hey, guess what we did? We've got this weapon over here, and we put this weapon in there, and then like, just by looking, like, for example, when we talk about programmable money is dangerous because it's traceable. But through FBI does this, through spending habits, you can build a profile on an individual. So if a foreign country was able to see the military's spending habits, they can make contingency plans based upon what they speculate the military is up to. So a black budget is somewhat necessary.
But isn't the black budget isn't that portion of the Federal Reserves?
What?
Isn't it part of the portion of the U.S. federal budget?
Yes.
And who owns the Fed?
No, those are two different things. The federal budget is not the Fed. The federal budget is the budget for the federal government to disperse how they see fit.
And who owns
like when we have these, like when we had the big baller bill that Trump just put together, right? They're just basically saying money's going here, it's going to this agency, it's going to that agency. It's just allocation saying you can spend up to this amount, right? But that is not the Federal Reserve. That's two different things.
Well, on that note, thank you for I stand correcting me. We're going to go to a brief commercial. We will be right back.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting corners in the low. Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hitting corners in the low. Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. And I still got love for the streets.
Yo, Hoppy be jamming, boy.
Right? Isn't that such a cute little video? Welcome back, everybody, to the nightly recap, sponsored by Hoppy, powered by the Gokhshtein News Network. I am with Hotep Jesus, the one and only chocolate mousse, chocolate cake, chocolate candy bar, and Landy. Landy, welcome.
Good evening. It's good to
Good
see you
evening,
both.
Landy. It's good to
Pause.
see you.
What's up,
Oh,
lady?
you know, I've been listening to the conversation. Had a little bit of dinner, and I was like, I think that they're.
Landy was part of the black budget, right? Landy was in the black budget. They had a
You know
piece of
what?
that was Landy's salary.
Let me tell you, I said black budget and Landy came on right away.
Yeah, 'cause
I
that was
mean,
part of his salary. He got paid out of that black budget.
I came up because Hoppy was like dancing around on the screen, and he was coaxing me up, and I heard a little bit about black budget and a reference to fourth turnings, and yeah, and kind of like the discussion that you both were having around the conflict that's currently kicking off, and kind of how Iran became an enemy. Look, the West is very good at creating our own enemies, right? um, that's very, very apparent, and I like the example of Al Qaeda. It's a recent example that many can reference, and it's a very interesting subject, and for what's happening in the world right now. There is there's vested interests in trying to pull the United States into a conflict, and it's one of those things where um, uh, the enemy of my of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that's typically how the United States does this. And there's entire manuals and handbooks and plenty of written theses out there that explain how to overthrow governments, right? To The modern implementations of that are utilized by um, every government around the world, right? We're one of the most notorious for doing so, or Western nations are some of the most notorious for doing so. And um, unfortunately, in situations like this, there's as with any war, there's all the people caught in the middle, and trying to identify what the actual end goals are can be very confusing to many, and many that are even involved in it often get lost in the sauce for what their own goals are, which is how you end up with rebel-backed groups that are funded by the CIA and or officially funded via the U.S. government and other Western nations governments. Then get the rug pulled out from under them, and now they're the enemy. Doesn't always occur in that they just won't listen. It's just like, no, you do the dirty work, and then we're going to rug pull you because you've allowed us to get this done, and now this is ours, and you will submit to what we want, kind of thing. And throughout history, this is common. We're just experiencing it in the modern version of it. And Hotep, you were asking like what is the fourth turning? Um, the fourth turning is an 80 to 100 year cycle economically, and it lines up. Often it's used in the biblical sense, right? So many people refer to the fourth turning; they think it's biblical. It actually doesn't have anything to do with being biblical, but it's the narrative that you hear around first, second, third, and fourth turnings. Is we have jubilee in biblical terms, right? And often you find that the fourth turning cycle, it's the Strauss and Howie's fourth turning thesis. It's the turning cycle thesis, where a cycle duration is between 20 and 25 years, so 80 to 100 years, and it lines up pretty well. Very famously, in 1997, they They predicted that the fourth turning would start around 2005 to 2008, and it would be because of a financial crisis. And there is some key concepts to the turning events that they identified. And I do encourage people to look it up because it's very, very accurate, and it's a study of history and economic cycles and how religion can be utilized to fit into these particular cycles, right? And it's based on human lifespan, 80 to 100 years in their estimation. And it is a full cycle. So you get first to fourth turning. The first turning is considered a high or a period of optimism. The second turning is considered the awakening, or a time of spiritual upheaval, um, individualism, questioning authority, stuff like that. Is some of the counterculture is kind of what is usually referenced in their documentation.
That would be France.
Kind of, yeah. You have the third turning is the unraveling, though, and that's a period of institutional weakness, skepticism, and self-interest, and then you get the fourth turning, which is a crisis where everything kind of comes to a head. So you have a period of optimism and institution building and collective unity in the first turning, and then that turns into individualism and awakening and upheaval in the second turning. The third turning is the weakening of the institutional collective unity. And then the fourth turning is where it comes to a head, where there is a major event or societal upheaval where the old systems are torn down for a new system to be put in place and restart the cycle of a period of optimism and institution building. And this is something that so when I got into markets, when I first started to get into markets, my mentor had me read their paper right off the bat. And now I was coming into understanding markets and learning about markets right around peak .com bubble, right? So I in fact got to witness the .com bubble and relate it back to what I was studying, what he gave me to study while I was learning to trade. And then of course, I kept that very close in mind, and I've studied it and related it back to things for many, many years since, especially when the 2005 financial crisis really started. Not the 2008 is when we call it the financial crisis. It was starting, though, is when it really started to ratchet up, was around 2005, where things started to hit kind of that really accelerated path towards the financial unraveling in 2008. And that was perfectly aligned with what I was reading. And it actually helped me trade it. It actually helped me understand what was going on in markets and kind of put context to it. And of course, I was called a crazy conspiracy theorist, and now it's pretty commonly accepted, even by some guys on Wall Street in pretty powerful positions. And one of the big things about a fourth turning is because it becomes it's a first to second cycle turning, or changing of the guard, or generation. And when we're looking at like examples that were given, were like the American Revolution, the Civil War, and of course, at the time that this was written, one of the major references was the Great Depression into World War II as the fourth turning, and then the first turning being post World War II. And now we're coming up on that 80-year kind of cycle. So we're kind of like right in the midst of it, and the beginning of that fourth turning. And we're projected by the way that it was explained. And some people differ in the way that they look at it, but it's expected to last until about 2030. Isn't there like a plan for 2030?
Yeah. What's that called again? Agenda 2030 or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So let's do some picking of Landy's brain here. So, all right. So what we have is a complete overhaul of systems through artificial intelligence. Like, people are completely. It's kind of like when computers came out, right? And people were like, all right, we're moving from these file drawers to computers. So you had to like dump the old and bring the new. So we know we have a complete overhaul. Amazon has rolled out artificial intelligence in 3 areas of their business. Everything from projection of inventory to road mapping, right? So we know we're doing a complete overhaul in that area. As far as the stable coins, here's my speculation, and you tell me what you think about this, Landy. So what I think is happening is we have currently an unprecedented loosening of regulations from the SEC and the CFTC. Like, I've never seen them be this lenient anymore. They're like, oh, you want an ETF? Sure. ETF for you, ETF you like. But it's like, wait a second. This is not the same SEC that we're used to, right? So what I'm thinking is they are creating the problem. And when we look at the stablecoin issue, all these different companies. So what I think is happening is the regulation is going to be so loose that somebody's going to mess something up, and then they're going to come in and tighten regulations like we've never seen before. Huge omnibus bill. The stablecoin goes straight to the Fed control. Nobody can issue stablecoins except for the Fed. This is my speculation on what's going to happen.
World dominance.
Well, in one aspect, I agree. In another aspect, I
tell me where you disagree.
I would disagree because the way that the Genius Act is written is that all stablecoin issuers must back with U.S. Treasuries, and realistically, stablecoins are just a vector for exporting the U.S. dollar, and for offloading the onus of Treasury demand from the Fed, right? So, when the Fed cuts, they're the buyer of last resort. If there's not enough demand in the market, they do balance sheet expansion, then that turns into QE. People have heard me say that so much that they now hate me for saying it. Like, I get DMs like, shut up. But that's the way that things go. Yeah. And realistically, if now we have the Genius Act and we have all of these different stablecoin issuers, yeah, they now have to back with U.S. bonds. That takes the pressure off the Fed to even do any kind of balance sheet expansion. This essentially modernizes the entire banking system.
Correct.
Because now those same stables will be accepted by banks, right? So this is a loop right back into the Fed. They don't need to create a CBDC. They don't even need to consolidate power because the power is the treasuries.
Correct.
And you can now keep offloading all of the onus on printing and debt and all of that cycle to a new system or a new modernized system.
Okay.
And that's where I think that we will start to move into a period of optimism. Trump literally calls it a golden age, right? And I think that when I listen to him and I listen to his administration, I feel as though if I was to evaluate this in like a turning cycle theory, that they are trying to guide from the fourth to the first turning and kick off the first turning, which is that period of optimism. And one of the biggest things is restoring institutional trust. See, one of the things.
So you think we're at the end of the fourth and going into the new first?
Yeah, I think that by 2030, and there's 2 different agendas or paths. There's the Trump proposed path, and then there is the globalist proposed path. Because no matter what, the world financial system is ready to break, and it won't take a lot to break it, right? So you have globalist interests that want it to go one way, and then you have nationalistic interests, in particular with a guy like Trump, and there are other leaders around the world who also want to do the same, but they want to guide it in their direction, not the globalist direction, because you don't want to give up that power, right? You want to, because what happens is as all these different nationalistic states or nationalistic leaders like Trump and others, they become the new globalist leaders. Because once you're nationalistic, you push back against the current globalist leadership. And then if you can get done what they would like to get done, you now in the new turning can become the new globalist leaders and take and exercise more control. A lot of people think that the United States has control, but we are very highly controlled because of the way that the central banking system has infected all of the Western nations, right?
Yeah.
At every level, from government to corporate to private sector, doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore they can exercise control the money, control the people.
Right.
And if the United States goes this direction, they can utilize the Fed to get done what they want to get done, and then you can usurp, right? And that's my read on it. And stablecoin legislation, Genius Act legislation, you have to play politics with it, right? You have to give.
Wait. You used the term usurp. Where's the usurpation begin?
Well, because it's not that the system to us will change, it's the top level leadership of the system that will change. Right? So it's usurping and instead
To
of
me,
being
I think
beholden
it's new money versus old money.
and that's one part of it. Yeah, there's it's a very, very in my opinion, and this is all just opinion. I don't know what I'm talking about for those in the crowd out there. I'm completely insane.
Aren't we all?
Exactly. Here's the big thing is that systems, centralized systems trend towards decentralization. And then the decentralized systems trend back towards centralization. It's cyclical. It's human nature, right? Otherwise we'd still all be out there as decentralized societies, hunter gatherer, and we wouldn't be able to centralize and consolidate and share resources. But we go through these periods of centralization and decentralization, and then decentralization within centralized infrastructure.
Right.
And when all of the vested interests around the world are vying and jockeying for position of control of the next system.
Right.
And you can't just cut one system and start all over without risking losing control because of all of the different variables. So right now it is a nationalist versus globalist fight, especially in the context of the United States. There's many who believe that Trump is an agent of the globalists and just trying to guide us into that. But it really is, in my opinion, a nationalist versus globalist fight, because if the nationalists can take over, they can become the new globalists. Why would you ever want to relinquish that control? And as it relates to like the stablecoin stuff, you can utilize.
All right, we got to stop right there.
Go ahead.
We got to stop right there. There is no such thing as globalism. There's Westernism and there's Easternism. But when people start throwing out this whole globalism thing, I'm like, well, globe means the entire planet. No, there's the West versus everybody else. Correct?
I challenge that.
Okay.
Because I would say that the East and the West work together while holding knives behind their back, ready to stab each other in the back.
Yes, correct.
So it's one school.
Yes. So globalist is a catch-all term because there are actual globalists within specifically those globalists exist in the West, right? In Western nations.
Right.
And China, for instance, is very happy to go along with the globalist agenda because it suits their nationalist agenda.
Right.
Right. And if they can, and that's where we start to get into the United States is seen as one of the largest participants in the Western nations, right? So, and the most powerful, right? Because of money.
But we got to put a bookmark right there. We have to define globalism now.
It's globalism is trying. Well, globalists, what they're trying to do in terms of the goal is to actually create a unified, centralized power infrastructure where the nations, East and Western nations, um, have some sort of equal say in their book, but it is a wholly unequal um, class-based system.
So they want equality, like women and men want equality, and it's not going
Yeah,
to
no,
happen. You
no,
can't,
that's the
because a
pitch.
woman and a man are never going to be equal. So is that kind of how we can
That's the
see it?
pitch. It's the pitch. Look, the globalists are it's a cover. It's a cover for exerting control and consolidation of power, whereas the nationalists simply want power for their country and their people, right? And nationalists will always become globalists because nationalists will side with other nationalists to protect their interests and then create centralized infrastructure that becomes globalist in nature to try and exert and protect the nationalistic power. And it always spins out of control into a globalist centralized power structure. Right now, it is primarily the West, but the East facilitates and plays along for their own nationalist purposes.
Mm.
And it is, there is an actual goal in all of the written literature out there that anyone can go look at, where they want to consolidate power and have a global base of power and operations and control over every nation on the planet and people and population and food. And yeah, I mean, it's not like pie in the sky like conspiracy theorist stuff. It's real, and they'll tell you it's real. Just go to the UN, like go to the WEF. Like if you go and you listen carefully to the talks,
They say
uh,
it out loud.
they say it right there. Trump throws a big old monkey wrench in that, and of course, there's many that believe that he's here as like a, to to quell one side to march us into it unknowingly, and I don't buy that. You don't try to kill somebody that many times and then pull them into another conflict and smear them for control. It's a battle here at home in the United States and a battle globally, because he wants to shift the power structure away from these particular countries that want to band together, and the leadership and business is all mixed together with countries' leaders, money, and money is what got a lot of these leaders into power anyway. So it's one big Ouroboros, right?
Properties. It's called the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah. Georgia.
He asked. He said, "What were those stones that got destroyed? That had their whole plan." The Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah. And there's a few others, right? Hotep? I thought there was more than just the Georgia Guidestones. I thought it was somewhere else. I know that one was very specific.
What is the Georgia's Guidestones for the people that don't know?
It was like, you have to keep the population of the planet below a certain number, and here's how you govern. It was I think it was 3 stones or 4 stones, and they had their plans on there.
Oh wait,
but
COVID.
they apparently they destroyed it. I think they destroyed it. Yeah, right around COVID.
Yeah,
I think they destroyed it.
bombed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Car bomb, if I remember correctly.
Is that what it was?
Or it was either that or they planted a bomb and drove off. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but they
then
never
had
caught
to
him.
take him down. Yeah. Yeah.
They got called QAnon, or whatever it was, because they tried to. I remember the media narrative was they blamed. That's when it was really hot to call everything that was anti-globalist QAnon.
So let's come back, right? So we are headed for some economic collapse, right?
I'd argue that we're headed for an event, and the event might, this time, the way that the event is shaping up is, yes, the economic collapse is absolutely on the table. But I do feel, by looking at the actions that are being taken, especially here in the United States, that it is going to be not necessarily a collapse, but a transition.
Correct. I agree with that.
So do you think that,
and it's not going to be an economic collapse like we've experienced in the past?
Yeah.
It's not like the Great Depression thing. I think this is going to be different. Maybe
so do you
institutional.
think that the riots and everything that's been happening recently is a disguise, or it's a smoke screen to inject that change?
No, it's to stop what this administration is trying to do and insert their own players and change minds and twist arms. Because look, it's very clear who some of the players are, and I'm not going to say it on a live stream that is on the internet forever, but it's
Well,
very
could you
clear
tell
who
me
the
and I
players
can
are.
say it, or no?
I mean, you can say what you think. I'm not even going to say what I think. But we
Okay.
know who the players are, and we know that they're trying to cause chaos here in the United States and chaos overseas at the same time to form a narrative and utilize that narrative to influence Washington and twist arms to stop certain portions of the agenda from moving forward.
Are we talking
They've
about
done it
Iran?
every step of the way.
Are we talking about Iran, China, Russia?
I cannot confirm nor deny any of the nation states that you're talking about. In fact, I said this at one point. I am literally just an insane person that has no idea what I'm talking about. I'm actually clinically insane. I just took the straitjacket
I
off.
mean, and my disclaimer is Hotep calls me beautiful, and beautiful people can't be smart. So beautiful people are literally stupid. So anything that comes out of my mouth is stupidity.
I never said that.
He did not.
No,
I never said that for the record.
I have recordings. There are recordings where he's like, I have never seen a beautiful woman that is smart. They
There
don't
are
exist.
exceptions. There are exceptions to the rule.
And we talked about it, and you said there wasn't. And you're like, name me one.
Next subject.
You know what's funny?
I love the color coordination you got going on today. You got the lip going, you got the top, you got the light. It's beautiful. I love that for you.
Thank you, Hotep. I wanted to make it kind of special tonight. Sandy, sorry.
It's okay. No worries. I just wanted to cap this with some interesting things for anyone to if you're ever interested in this subject and you just heard about four turnings or and in the turning cycle. And in particular, you know, we're in this case, I'm referencing the different, there's many different cycle theories, but in this case, I'm referencing the Strauss and Howe fourth turning or turning cycle. It's not fourth turning, it's turning cycle or full cycle that they cover, right? But if you're ever interested and you want to see how scarily things line up, I encourage people to go, and I'm going to butcher the names of these. You can look up the contrative waves, 40 to 60 year cycles, the Hegelian dialect, which is a variable cycle. By the way, we're in the winter stagnation post 2008 for the contrative. Hegelian, we're in the antithesis or polarization cycle. Spengler's cycles, we are in the Western decline phase, and that's a civilizational cycle. And Toynbee's theory, where we are in the challenge cycle, and we are, it's undetermined in that particular cycle theory whether growth or decline, because of the decline might be the earlier part of the aughts and the growth might be this part. So it's kind of undetermined. But they all fit together with religions and in the 50 to somewhere around 500 year cycle for biblical cycles, which is the divine plan cycles, the judgment and redemption cycles. And there's many that would believe that we are approaching Jubilee. So if you're ever interested in this kind of stuff, I encourage you to look up cycle theory. There's many different ones as it relates to the Strauss-Howe cycle theory.
We're going to take a quick break. And on that break, I'm going to tell you guys a quick joke, and then we will resume because I do have a question for you, gentlemen. So if Diddy was to fight with an immigrant, would it be Alien versus Predator?
Yo.
And that joke was sponsored by Hoppy. This is a nightly recap with Hotep Jesus Landy.
Yeah, my wife nearly spit out her drink.
That wasn't right.
I mean, I could say it.
Y'all going to jail.
I'm going to tell you guys one more joke, okay?
Here we go.
Okay. So why do Mexicans drink lukewarm drinks?
Why do they drink lukewarm drinks?
Or room temperature drinks?
Room temperature drinks? I don't know.
Yeah. Landy, do you know why?
No idea.
Because they don't mess with ice.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I could have swore they were messing with ice.
No, ice messes with them. They don't mess with ice.
I see.
We're going to be canceled.
I mean, we've been talking. If anybody can tell those jokes, I think it's me. Man, I made you guys laugh. David says that I'm boring and my jokes suck. I guess not today, right?
That was a good dad joke.
You like? I made you laugh there. I stimulated your mind with my joke. Anywho, what do you, Landy, Hotep, what do you guys think of the Iranian sleeper cells here in the United States? And do you think that they're probably going to rise pretty soon and the war happening overseas in the Middle East is a distraction?
No.
No what?
No, because they're tracked. We know, the government knows who they are.
Because the government has funded them, right? Or assisted them some way, somehow.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of elements that came in under the guise of coming from South America up through the border the past 4 years. And for many years prior to that, by the way. The deporter in chief, Obama, did let in a lot of people too. It's interesting that the people that were deported were from South America, but many of the others that were allowed to stay were not. Biden, same thing. It's very difficult to track who, what, when, and where, but the capabilities of tracking sleeper cells within the United States is pretty robust. And
can we truly track all of them though?
Yeah, that's easy. So I want to add on to that.
If that is easy and that can be tracked, I mean, what's to say that we as human beings, regular people, are not being tracked already then? Everything we do.
No, we are. That's why I be looking at you crazy when you be talking on this platform. I'm like, we know they watching us, right? You do understand that they okay, all right.
And I told you I need a van to come for me because I need to feel something.
So it's not that they're funding or assisting the sleeper cells. I mean, they might, but really what it's about is just giving people enough room to breathe, to allow them to do something that might aid in your agenda.
At the cost of hurting, possibly killing Americans?
Yes.
How evil can you be to do that?
I'm going to take the counter argument to this, and I'm going to point out something pretty obvious. Tom Homan has talked a lot about this very publicly, and about who ICE was targeting first was gang members and terrorist cells. And I mean, if you don't think that ICE and the feds have already been all over that, it doesn't mean they're going to get everybody. Because, if you're not blowing cover, you're here operating on U.S. soil, you'll integrate yourself in every movement that you possibly can to throw the scent off or to shift blame to another movement. And there's elements within the was it 2011 timeframe that were already within like the Wall Street protest movements that then became the same players and the same groups that helped to form all of our favorite labeled groups that participated in every major riot event, for instance. And that can be, you can extrapolate that out to BLM and now the current riots and stuff like that as the most recent examples. But they're also on the right as well, and they integrate into all of these different groups, and then they link up and have their own communication channels. So, but it's not hard to track people.
Are you familiar with Operation Fast and Furious, Landy?
Yes.
Can you tell the people what that was?
What is Fast and Furious?
Go ahead, Hotep, because I'm going to go off on a tangent that's going to get far afield of this, but go ahead.
So basically, this is Obama's thing, and he allowed the Sinaloa cartel to traffic drugs and guns, as long as he did it in just Chicago. That was like allegedly the rule. El Chapo and his Sinaloa cartel can traffic guns and drugs, but he had to centralize it in Chicago. And some people wonder why Chicago turned into a hellhole. It was more than likely because of the Fast and Furious operation. So that's an example of where I say they'll have surveillance over criminal organizations, terrorist organizations, but give them enough room to breathe. Right. So we've got a precedent for that.
Yeah, and it also extended well beyond just Chicago, right? Because
LA,
Chicago, San Francisco, New York City, and it also helped to consolidate power in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that was one of the because there has to be a benefit, right? Because they all know that eventually they're going to get turned on, right? So you have to consolidate power as quick as possible, get the job done, consolidate power, and then once you're it's just like the U.S. government going in and propping up all of these what we now label as terrorist organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just here at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a rabbit hole too. That one is a big rabbit hole. What a big rabbit hole. And people knew about it at the time. Like talking about it publicly, and then then all of a sudden they weren't able to talk anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And wait, and this happened, you said, during Obama?
Yeah, this is Obama's administration.
Yep. Yeah, and then think about how people look back and look at how many deportations that he was doing. But for all the deportations, who was he allowing to stay?
He was not only people allowing to stay, they were bringing them in.
Yes, they're facilitating it. Yes, 100%. They literally had operational support from elements within the government.
Right. Reagan's crack era.
Yep.
Reagan's crack era, CIA facilitated cocaine and cocaine derivatives in the hoods of America.
Yep.
All right. So when I say that they allow, and when I think of the sleeper cells, I'm not thinking about South American sleeper cells. I'm thinking about Iranian, Arab, Muslim, jihadist sleeper cells who they're like, oh yeah, this guy right here, we keep tabs on him. In fact, the guy he works with is our contact, right? We're going to allow him to work and do whatever it is that he wants to do, and we're keeping tabs on him, and we're actually going to allow him to let that explosion off, but he's got to do it in the region that we allow him to, so that now we have a reason to go to war with Iran or whatever agenda they have, like they did with Pearl Harbor and like they did with 9/11.
Yeah. There's
some wild ass shit.
It gets up its own ass too.
Obama was the one that also stopped the border, right? the construction of the Trump's fence or border wall or whatnot.
Wait,
Or no,
what? Obama what?
Never mind. Never mind. I said it out loud. I had to say it out loud. Never
Oh,
mind.
are you saying Obama during his third term that he stopped the construction of the border wall to allow illegal immigrants to cross into the United States?
He definitely had a third term.
He definitely did.
With Biden.
Yep.
He definitely had a third term. That's why I was like, wait, hold on.
Oh, Biden, we like to call him. He's an
Oh,
Irishman.
Because he was
Yeah.
running everything. I mean, the crazy
I don't
thing
know
is
if he
like
was running everything, but he was definitely in the room.
behind the scenes. Because I keep telling
Yeah,
everybody.
he was one of those minds in the room.
Yeah, I keep telling everybody that I've toured the border numerous times, so I was able to see the construction of the wall and then where it ended. And one of the times that we were out there, we actually got to see squatters. And it was not your regular squatters. The person that was with me, he knows the area, he already knows them, and he was telling me, it was the squatter to bring in, like the cartel type of squatter. And it was interesting to see. They were scoping us out where we were. And so easy because where the fence ends, and then there was another little a piece of fence somewhere else. It's so easy to get in. And then the area that we were, it was not even being monitored at all. We did spend like a few hours out there, and the whole time that I spent out there, I didn't even see one border patrol police officer, nothing. It was just very easy. Like at that point, they could have just smuggled or done whatever they wanted to do, and it would have been easy to get in. Easy in, easy out. You know what they say, gentlemen.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Just spill that Diddy oil right across the border and let them
Oh
slide
my
on over, is
goodness
what they said.
gracious. What are you guys thinking? I was talking about the border. Easy in, easy out. Get your hands out of the gutter, gentlemen. But
That was nasty.
Yep.
That was nasty work. You two are just menaces.
menace to society. With that being said, I told David earlier, we were on a phone call and he hung up on me because he says that I'm boring. But I did tell him, hey, tonight I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm going to write the wave, and I was talking about writing the wave of politics and everything that we were going to talk, conspiracy theories. And he's like, oh, so you're going to write that Hotep wave? I'm like, bro, pause.
You know it's the truth.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
I was a bit afraid. I was like, is she gonna go full black van tonight? Because I heard you. I stopped you earlier in the spaces. I was like, Leslie, not now.
You
Not now.
did.
You're
I
about
don't
to
even
go
remember.
in.
I mean, you know that I don't think that well. I don't even articulate myself very well either. I do have difficulty speaking in English, so sometimes I don't even know what comes out of my mouth. Whatever comes out of my mouth, I'm not responsible for.
It must be great being bilingual. If I say something in my second language, I'm not responsible for that shit. That's a fucking privilege.
That's
Right,
wild.
because it's like I don't even understand what I'm saying sometimes. I don't even understand like, my research. I can't comprehend some of these big words in English. So when I'm doing research and, my conspiracy theories, I just don't comprehend what the hell is happening.
I don't even know what I just said. That was a big word. I just read it off the paper. I don't even know what it means. I'm from Mexico. Where are you from? Venezuela?
No.
Where you from? Guatemala?
No,
You are Mexican.
I was born in the United States of America.
But you're a Mexican.
My parents are Mexican, so I'm first
Really?
generation. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Guadalajara?
I have family in Guadalajara. Guadalajara.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know you were Mexican.
Yes. So
You don't look Mexican.
what do I look like? A human being? A woman?
Usually Mexican women are a little bit more round at your age.
What does that mean? Landy, what does that mean?
Man.
More round at your age. You say it. I mean, we're here in like
Listen, I am bowing out of that one gracefully while I still have a head on my shoulders and
what Hotep
elsewhere.
what Hotep doesn't understand is that I grew up in a Mexican household where they banter and they tell you the nastiest shit. So it's like by the time that I'm full grown, it's like nothing bothers me. Are you trying to say that by my age, Mexican women my age are fat, ugly, and look like moms?
That's one way to put it. I would have said gordita.
Gordita. I mean, in all honesty, when you met me 2 years ago, I was gordita.
Where's the meme of the dude that's laying down in the grave and throwing the dirt on himself? We need to throw that up on the screen right now.
So have you lost weight since then? Is that what happened? What have you done? What lifestyle changes have you made?
I ate less chocolate, less sugars. I do a little bit biohacking here and there. I work out and I started running again because I used to run. I used to do like half marathons and things like that. And I stopped because I got injured. And that's kind of when I ballooned. And of course, you know what? I lost baggage. You know, I got divorced. And you know what they say? Sometimes after a divorce, you glow up.
Yeah, that's some fucked up shit.
I mean,
it's like when a woman's in a relationship with you, she blows up like a balloon, and as soon as you break up with her, she wants to be hot again. That's the most selfish shit I've ever heard.
No, I was throughout my whole marriage, I was actually a lot thinner than I am right now. And it was the last 3-4 years of my marriage that I ballooned. You know, I ate my emotions and I just was very depressed, bored, and something that
is that why you look you don't look like when we first met? You definitely don't look the same.
Like, what do you mean?
You're almost unrecognizable.
That does not make sense.
You don't look like you. Like when we first met, you're right. You were definitely pudged, you know.
She's been replaced. She's been replaced, Hotep.
I still look the same. We have the picture. It's just like a few pounds lighter.
Where is that picture?
I send it to you in your DM.
When? A long time ago, right?
Yeah, it was you can go look at it. It's in your DM.
It's somewhere in my DMs. Let me see if we can scroll back far enough because our DMs are extensive.
Whoa.
They go way back.
He's like exposed.
There it is. No, you're definitely no. This is a pudgester right here. This is this is pudgy fudgy.
Oh my God.
Oh, I can share now.
Yeah,
there it is right there. Can you see that?
Oh my gosh.
Can y'all see that? Can you see that, Landy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you see her?
Yeah.
Does she look different?
Like she doesn't look like she's been replaced. But yeah, she probably lost a little weight.
Landy's being nice.
Landy's like, oh, she lost a little weight. And then you're like, nah. Hotep is like, nah, she lost a lot of weight.
She lost a lot of weight. Look at the.
All my opinions are formed off of 4chan posts. Okay, what? That's it.
Like, look, she's got the librarian sweater on. That's what fat people wear to cover up the pudge. She's got a librarian sweater on. You see that there? That's how you know it's different. This green librarian sweater.
It's not a librarian. It's a blazer.
Oh, a librarian blazer.
How long ago was this?
2 years
this
ago?
Was
I would say about
well, you
2
sent
years
it 2025, but I think that was longer ago, right?
It was when did you go to Austin, Texas? A couple of years ago?
Yeah, it was a couple of years back.
And
gonna
then I
say
have a picture with
2023.
David. I don't think that he's going to want me to share it, but I was actually a little bit heavier than that picture when I met David.
Wow,
Yeah.
really? Damn.
Oh, yeah. When I met
Well,
David, I was at my heaviest when I met him. And then he was like, you know what? You're my bestie, but I don't like, you got to get healthy. Not kidding. He
well,
never said anything. I'm kidding, guys. I'm joking. David would never say shit like that.
I would.
You
Well,
would,
you look.
David would.
Yeah, I definitely would. You look healthier now. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you've made those lifestyle changes, and that's
Yeah,
good. You know that
I
you should
got
be an icon for
baggage.
other women. Yeah.
I think I lost about 100, I would say about 180 to 189 pounds of baggage.
That's
God
incredible.
damn.
You
How
lost
much?
No,
another
my
person.
ex, guys, my
Yeah,
ex.
yeah. You lost another person, and that was
Oh,
her
I was
ex.
about to say, God damn. I don't remember that much ass. Jesus.
Yeah. I knew right where she was going with that.
Hotep is like,
Terrified for a second there.
Hotep is like, ew, I don't like you anymore. That's okay, Hotep. No, I know what Hotep is thinking. I know his face exactly. Hotep is like, if you lost that much weight, do you have excess skin hanging?
Actually, I didn't think that. But that would be nasty.
No, I was not that type of heavy. But that's what happens, ladies. I mean, you know what? When you are in a relationship, when you're married, you're with somebody, the woman is a reflection of you. So if you're treating your woman like ass, if you're treating your woman like shit, you can tell. People are going to see it.
You make
so
her fat.
That means, huh?
You make her fat.
Yeah, you're a bad man.
Okay. All right.
Why?
No.
Your women are not fat. Hotep, right?
Who? What?
Your women? No, I'm kidding, guys. You can be fat and happy. You know what? I'm not gonna even say that because I have a lot of friends that are gorditas and they're freaking happy and their husbands treat them like queens and things like that. So the statement that I previously made is inaccurate, but I mean, sometimes
95% of women your age from Mexico are gorditas, so that's accurate.
I don't think that's accurate though, because like a lot of my friends that are around my age, that are around
you want me to Google it? I can type in middle age.
They're not that
I can type in middle-aged Mexican woman, and I'm pretty sure you're not gonna like the Google search results.
I'm really 50 years old, Hotep.
There's no way. There's no way you're 50.
I am.
No way. No, I do not believe that one bit. There is no damn way. Wait, are you serious?
I have kids in their 20s. I was married for over 20 years.
You're 50? There's no way.
I'm kidding. I'm not.
There's no way. I know. Like, hell no. There is no way.
No, it's because it's a running joke. And, David always says that I'm 50 or 55, so I always go with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, look, as somebody who has had a lot of stress in their lives, personally, and I can tell you that I don't look my age. I also don't act my age. Which throws people off because I'm older than a lot of people suspect.
And I don't act my age either. My kids, my kids recently, they came to visit a month ago and they hadn't seen me. My son had not seen me since I left Texas in September. And when he saw me, he's like, "Mom, you don't look like a mom anymore." And I'm like, "Bro, what does that mean?"
He's like, "I have to protect you, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out with you. Nobody's getting close to you, Mom."
No, my kids are very overprotective. Yeah. They're like, "Mom looks good." They're like, "Mom." And they're like, "Mom, are you dating anybody?" I'm like, "No, just probably people online." No, I'm kidding. I'm not dating anyone.
What?
I was talking about Hotep. It's like we only date on Fridays on the night. That's it. That's like the only thing that I do.
And here I come third wheeling in, like Just on my unicycle.
No, it's good that you come in because for some reason lately I've been making Hotep a little bit nervous or whatnot, and he's like, "Chat, help!" And it's a good thing that you come in here because he is sometimes in over his head, right, Hotep?
No, that's not false. I just Googled middle-aged Mexican women, and often a symptom of obesity is a double chin. And I got to tell you, those Google search results had more chins than a Chinese phone book.
Oh my God.
Yo. Oh.
It's pretty bad in there. It's just
I think
don't Google it. Just leave that tab. Let me close that tab up.
Hotep, did I blow your mind tonight? Because this whole time, Hotep thinks that I've been in my 30s, and I finally told him, no, I'm around your guys' age, and now you're freaking out.
I'm actually shocked. I thought you were at least 32 or something like that. Now I find out you're in your 40s. I don't believe you, by the way. I refuse to believe that.
Hotep is like, never mind. You're in your 40s. I'm no longer attracted to you.
Yeah, that's facts. True. Yeah, that's definitely facts. Holla at me when you hit 50. My range is like 25 to 26, and then 50 to 55.
Listen, if women are treated right, they will age like a fine wine. And right before menopause hits, they tend to hit their peak glow.
Wait, what?
There you go.
How would you know that?
Because I'm a little bit older. I'm an old man. I'm over here. I've got to walk with my cane.
You're not even that old, Landy.
I know. You actually know how old I am.
Landy's 62 years old.
No. Yeah, Tammy said some women in their 40s.
That's why he's so good at technical analysis. He was here trading during the Great Depression.
Technical analysis during the Great Depression. Okay, so do we want to end on what is your guys' theory? What is going to happen the next few days, the next couple of weeks with the war in Iran? And Hotep doesn't want to touch it anymore. David, Hotep, you don't want to touch it anymore?
I always want to touch
subject of our. No, you just said you're not attracted to women in their 40s, so now you still can't stare at me and look at me and be like, oh, now I'm attracted to you and never mind. No.
I just said that shit to get you mad.
And obviously it doesn't get me mad.
What's gonna happen with Israel?
As long as I get look, you're always going to be turned on as long as I can stimulate your mind and have you smiling and laughing.
The second part is right. The first one you're struggling with, but we can work. The second one always helps. Well, we can work with it. It's a whip. It's a whip. It's a work in progress.
Oh, so you like whipped?
No, I definitely no. I'm not into domination. I must hold the whip.
Of Hotep.
No, I gotta hold the whip. You ain't whipping my ass. I had enough whoopings when I was younger. You ain't whipping my ass. Fuck that. If anybody doing whipping, it's me. And I'm black. Fuck that. My ancestors got whipped enough.
Okay. On that note.
So here's what's gonna happen. You ready?
I'm ready.
Tomorrow's gonna be absolute chaos.
Okay.
Get ready. Be by your computer, your smartphone device. Landy, you know it's okay to laugh at that joke. I know you muted yourself to laugh at that joke. It's okay to laugh at that one. I know it was a slave joke. You're like,
I had to get the laugh pass.
Am I allowed to laugh at that? It's all good, Landy. It's all good. All right.
He likes
I give you the pass.
It was funny because Enoch messaged me and he said, I'm too nervous to laugh about that joke because he's whiter than me, apparently.
Enoch definitely whiter than fucking Landy. But tomorrow's going to be a shit show because we've had Leslie's cousins protesting all week, right? They got riots all
But you
across
know
the
what?
damn
A lot
nation.
of them now. You're saying my cousins, but let me tell you something. A lot of they've been paid to go out there and protest, and there
That's true.
have been other races that actually are waving American flags,
That's
not
true.
just the Mexicans. So,
So Leslie's cousins and company.
mhm.
Um,
Thank you.
you're welcome. They've been doing their thing all week. Riots nationwide, etc., right? Yes, the paid protesters. So now they have two people to be mad at, right? Because the same contingent of liberal activists, might not even want to call them liberal, we should probably call them radical right wing communists. ICE and now Israel. So tomorrow they get to be mad at two things. Oh my God, look at what Israel's doing. So I think tomorrow's going to be, I had somebody on my show today give us a little live stream from the streets of LA, and a lot of places are boarding up. So tomorrow I think it's going to get really wild. So I had somebody else, that same individual told us that California LA imposed a curfew, and the curfew was not abided by. People were like, no, we're going to be outside and we dare you to do something about it. So tomorrow's going to be reckless. And with these protests, this is a great place for these sleeper cells to embed themselves. So I would be cautious tomorrow. I'm not saying something will happen tomorrow, but if something does happen, it will happen this weekend or one of these weekends in the midst of a protest. But tomorrow's gonna be absolute shit show, and it's gonna be plenty of grift on that timeline.
I would say for people to be careful when going out there. Read the news. My understanding, there's going to be a lot of people attending like the No Kings protest against Trump. So I just would be very careful when you're out there.
Don't get bilked by the bullshit. It's
Because
entirely manufactured bullshit. If you get bilked and you get wrapped up in it, you did it to yourself. That's a real warning.
Yeah. So war is happening, overseas. So we're being distracted by that. And then now they're organizing riots all over the US, organized riots, maybe at a specific time, specific events. So what if this is a way for the sleepers to organize and get people there and then, bomb themselves or, explode themselves and stuff like that, where there's a big, huge group of people to eliminate and create chaos within the states.
I'm going to share a picture with you, Leslie.
What is that face, Hotep?
On X. Hold on, because I can't share it through here.
Okay.
But this is what they're all going to be staring at them. This was at the little victory celebration that's going to be overturned regarding the National Guard deployments, when the judge basically gave them 48 hours, 72 hours, right? As they were celebrating, this is what's staring back at them. So,
have they activated the Marines yet, or no? They won't, right? Until it gets.
they're in position.
So
it's
if
pretty
they activate
widely
the
known.
Marines at that point, is that kind of when we go into like martial law?
No, not necessarily. Martial law has to be declared, but they take an oath, protect against foreign and domestic. So it's well under the purview of the president. So, but yeah, that's going to be that's what's staring back at these protesters, because there are these organizations that are putting out these flyers, have ground operations that are also picking people up on the ground, paying them to come, giving them maps and locations for different things. It's pretty well organized, but it's a matter of mixing in with those that might be legitimately there to express their First Amendment right and grievances. Which, by the way, you don't have a First Amendment right to the 101 freeway. Thanks. And even here in California, the mayor was against all of this before any National Guard showed up anyway. So, and they were already out there before ICE even did their raids. So, we live in a time where it's very clear what the goals are, and it's more about what can be done to prevent the worst from happening. Because there absolutely are elements that would like to see a mass casualty event, right? And that's, you gather enough people there under false pretenses, or pretenses that they already know because they want to go cause havoc, anarchists. And there's a lot of vested interests, a lot of diverse vested interests in perpetuating what is occurring here. I don't know about how that relates to Israel. It's just, coincidental timing.
Yeah, but at the same token, it's like there was a lot, Hezbollah and Iran had a lot of sleeper cells in Latin countries, in what was it, Venezuela, Brazil, what other, I don't recall all of them, but Argentina, and what was it, last year, the last couple of years, remember that massive influx of people that we saw coming in, traveling, that was all over the news into the United States and that were let in? We don't know if a lot of those were the sleeper cells that came into and already planted here and ready to go. Like the timing, the coincidence.
Yeah. Look, it was not people. A lot of the people that came over were not from South America.
No, and then the deploying of troops like a couple of weeks ago or so, and so in preparation for what?
Look, it obviously we're not going to know until things are happening, but there's people that know within the administration. They know what's going on. They absolutely 100% understand and know what's going on, and are very well ahead of the game. Our intel apparatus in the United States is very, very sophisticated, far more sophisticated, I think, than many people understand. We think we know, but we also don't know what we don't know. And there's ways in which they operate and get out ahead of the game, both here and abroad, that, is a mystery until things start actually kicking off.
Yeah,
And then you
I
have
think
to
what
watch
people
the
need to
chess pieces
do
move.
is like you really have to prepare. It's like you really have to prepare. You have to prepare with food. You have to prepare with batteries, lights. You have to prepare with a lot of, and this is not fear mongering. It's what is probably going to be happening within the next few weeks, months, years. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't predict the future, and neither do I want to. But I mean, will we possibly be going off grid? Yeah, probably, absolutely. So it's like, are you prepared for emergency like that or anything like that? Have water, batteries,
Look, understand what happened with the internet the other day, right before and during the attacks. Right before, there was actual kinetic action in Tehran, right? So this I am of the opinion here at home, and I hope I'm not wrong, that we'll be fine.
that we're
And
going
I
to
know
be.
that it might look scary. It might look scary, but that we'll be fine. I think it's going to hit like some very scary notes here at home,
You don't think that they
especially
can
in the media.
take us off grid, etc.? I mean, how many times have we seen when they do take us off grid, how some people are not ready, they're not prepared,
Leslie,
not
do
fine.
you know you know who the biggest contractor to the DoD is, right? They had a little fight recently.
So is that a bad thing?
No, it's not. But that particular contractor fires up a lot of communication satellites, right? That are not, they're dual purpose, right? Anybody that thinks that Starlink is only like, hey, it's for internet, no, it's you're not contracted with the DoD to fire up those satellites. You wouldn't have authorization to do so without their blessing. So there is a lot of Starlink satellites. And anyone that doesn't recognize that that is a failover plan and grid that is resistant doesn't mean that things won't be without hiccups if something were
But
to
you
happen.
know what the thing is, that even it say that for the normies that have Starlink, satellite, etc.
It's not about the normies.
So then what is it about the government? So then screw
It's
the
about
normies.
yes, it's
So
about the government. It's about the
so
government
then the
making
normies
sure
are
that they
not
have
going
access.
to be okay then, right?
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
So if it's not about the normies, and then the normies can't communicate, they can't use the satellite. If you're in the mountains, you probably might not have access to.
Yeah, maybe not. You can still use Starlink. If
So
you
then
don't have
how
it, you can find somebody that does.
But not if it won't work for the normies in the mountains or certain areas or location, right?
Well, but you got to understand that the way that networking infrastructure works is a lot of these are going to be connected to some of the main central hubs for the backbone. And yeah, and I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole, Sipper Nipper Net, and the different telecommunication companies and satellite operators that facilitate the internet as we know it, and the backbone therein. But that it's well protected. So while there might be interruptions at some point, absolutely viable. You don't have a billionaire firing up dozens and dozens of satellites every other week for no reason, unless you want to make sure that you're fleshing out a decentralized internet in the sky that can hook back home and
Leslie,
keep things going.
Here's the thing. If you're speculating it, then you're way off. If you believe the power grid is going to get hit, then the power grid's not going to get hit.
No, I'm not speculating.
Then you shouldn't worry about it.
Yeah,
but
we'll be
usually
okay.
what people are talking about is a distraction from what they really have planned. And usually it's far worse in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's somebody just messaged me. Okay, I see what this is. I know what you're doing. You're trying to bait me into that particular conversation, sir, and I'm not going to bring it up. It's not worth it.
What did they DM you? I want to know.
Okay. I'll give in. So there is a certain element on the internet that is very well known that believes that that the network is protected by a black eye. Elon had a black eye, and that this is a reference to having no blackouts in the of the grid of internet services and communication services via Starlink. So obviously this is a theory that marries in known facts with speculation from a specific bend within the right that they believe that this is the case. And like, I get it. Look, if you use just enough truth but twist it, you can still maintain some sort of credibility. And of course, that's just a step too far if you were to ask me. I don't know if they are a part of this particular movement. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But yeah. If you believe that, it is very highly speculative based on the whole him having a black eye thing. If you're trying to A to B to C that.
So Elon working with the government, Starlink, satellites.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rockets, reusable rockets, yeah.
Rockets,
Dragon.
everything. So this is like a big blanket surveillance. Is that what I'm understanding?
I mean, it could be used for that eventually. I don't think that it's currently that is like the system that's going to be used. We already have plenty of systems in place that can do all of that. That's
We're
more
going to
of
be in
a
a digital cage. We're already in a digital cage.
yeah. Like, look, you're already here. We're already here. We literally are in Web 3. Okay. Web 5 minus 2. We're in Web 3.
Web
Wasn't that what
3,
was said
the
yesterday?
blockchain, the system that was created by those elite government officials or whatnot to really see how the human reacts to certain things that they want to implement. So they say you are decentralized, but are we really decentralized? Because
Decentralized within a centralized infrastructure. There is no
so we're
escape from
really
the
not
centralized
decentralized.
infrastructure.
No, so we were never decentralized. So this was a beautiful design
No, no,
to
no,
make
no.
it one way.
Hold on. You can have decentralization within the confines of a centralized infrastructure. And then what you will trend towards is a decentralization of that centralized infrastructure, which is then reformed into a centralized infrastructure. It is
But
an
how are
ebb
we
and
really
flow
decentralized?
because
If we
nothing
still
in
have to
human
do processes and
society.
procedures
Okay.
that, if we want to liquidate assets, if we want to take out our funds, we still have to go through institutions that are regulated, don't we? Or
Yes,
we have
because
to
that is the centralized system in which we operate.
so then we're really not decentralized completely.
Human society will never be decentralized until
No,
we're
we're just
gone.
like freaking zoo animals in a zoo, and Big Brother is watching us.
Decentralization doesn't work. Decentralization doesn't work. There's no such thing as decentralization. There has to be centralization to have organization.
Yes. That's society. It's at the core of society.
Correct.
You can, and you will always have decentralized systems within centralization, and then they trend, they ebb and flow. It's like a pendulum swinging back and forth. It will swing over to the more decentralized aspects, and then it will re-centralize and consolidate power, and then decentralize, and so on and so forth. That's just society over time. That's how we've been able to stick around for so long until the asteroid hits us.
Right.
And other things that are going to
Or
be
the
coming.
aliens.
The
And the
aliens.
aliens. When they start waking up people from Antarctica and stuff like that, you'll see.
I'm rooting for the aliens personally.
I'm just waiting to wake up from my pod. All right. I want to pull the cord out of the back of my head.
Oh my
and
God.
Disconnect.
Yes, that's literally
I just
us.
want a big blue alien with big blue titties. That's all I want. I just want to.
I just want a
He's just
big.
I
went
just
full
want a
avatar.
motor.
You got
I
a
just
full
want a motor.
avatar, brother.
Yeah, I just want a motorboat and alien. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, he said I want a motorboat and alien. Somebody clip that.
Welcome to Earth, bitch.
You want to have babies with an alien?
Absolutely.
Oh, there's a joke there, and I'm not going to make it.
Don't do it, Landy. You gonna get killed.
No.
Randy, what color? So your baby is gonna turn out purple?
Yeah, that's what they say. That's the joke.
Blue
Don't.
and
No, I'm
brown.
not doing it. I'm not doing the joke.
Blue
Everybody can
and
already
brown
pick out
make
which
what
one.
color?
Listen, if I give away the color, I would actually be truthful and give away the color of my actual babies, and they are unknown color. They have no color at all. They might be aliens.
They're translucent.
Yes, you can see right through them. You see a little heartbeat. Jules is here. What did I just walk into?
Jules, you walked into Hotep wanting to mate with a blue alien and have babies and motorboat a blue alien that is going to come out of Antarctica or one of those lost cities.
I like that he said motorhomes. Something about aliens and motorhomes.
Motorhomes.
One of those cities that the government has hidden from us that is out there. Guys,
I ain't afraid of the aliens, man. I'm ready, man. Fuck it.
Oh, dead.
Next they come there and say, "Take me to the leader." I'll be like, "Bitch, I am the leader. What the fuck y'all want, man? Where the bitches at?"
I am the leader. All right, gentlemen. We've been here for 2 hours, top of the second hour. Hotep, I know this is way past your bedtime. I mean, that's why I think that you are a little bit older than me, because I can still go to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and Hotep, you still need to go and get in bed.
That's because you so used to all them damn fiestas in Mexico.
I mean, if you want a Latina, that's one of the things that you're going to probably try to incorporate into your schedule. Not every weekend, maybe every other weekend. And, just when you think we're going to go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning, we're just getting started.
Guantanamera.
Until
Guajira, Guantanamera. Guantanamera. That's my shit.
Gosh. Hola, Jules. When will we get a Spanish breakdown? You know what? Next Friday. Jules, el próximo viernes que viene te voy a leer muchas cosas en español a ti y a Hotep. A lo mejor a Landy, pero a ver qué pasa. ¿Te gustaría, Hotep, que te leyera en español o te diera las noticias en español? ¿Sí o no?
Sí.
Oh, wait, you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh, wait, say that again.
¿Quieres que te lea las noticias en español? ¿Sí o no?
Say it slower. You said it way too fast. When you say that guala guala shit, you gotta say it slow.
Well, guala, it's
Say it again. Say it slow. Quieres. So that's who?
No, you want.
Oh, that's right. Quiero. Yeah, yo quiero is I want. Right. Okay. Yeah. So want,
¿Quieres
right?
Que te cuente.
Something about counting.
No, remember when, depending on the sentence and the phrases, one word can mean multiple things in Spanish, depending on the sentence.
Okay,
¿Quieres que te cuente las noticias en español?
Noticias.
Yeah, do you want me to tell you the news in Spanish? Sí o no?
Oh, sí.
¿Quieres caramelo también? ¿Helado o caliente?
Caliente.
Okay, so you want hot caramel.
Sí. Later. For me.
Okay. So
I gotta
now
brush up on my españols.
Okay, ¿quieres caramelo en chocolate?
Un chocolate?
No, ¿quieres caramelo en chocolate?
Sí.
Caramel in the chocolate?
On the chocolate. ¿Quieres caramelo en el chocolate? You want caramel on the chocolate?
Yes, sí. Sí, señorita.
Sí, señorita. Bueno, pues con Jules, my soul left my body. I don't know why Jules likes for me to talk to him in Spanish. Like it's not, to me, Spanish is not that even sexy, but whatever
that
you
make a man's soul leave his body. You could be plotting to sell me to the cartel and I'd be falling in love.
Otras cosas van a salir de tu cuerpo también, no nomás eso.
Yeah.
I said other things are going to come out of your body, not just your soul.
Yep. Even my wife blushed.
Lord, Jesus have mercy.
I made a Hotep blush and you can't even tell, right, Hotep?
This is crazy.
She got jokes. She got jokes.
This feels like taxi cab confessions.
I can see Hotep. So will you, me vas a reventar la bomba o no?
Wait, who, what?
I said, me vas a reventar la bomba o no?
Un queso?
No, are you going to pop my balloon or not?
Your response was too good.
Hotep knows why I'm asking.
con queso o
Sin queso.
un azúcar para chipotle.
You want sugar for Chipotle? So is it gonna be a yes or no on the pop of the bonbon? ¿Va a ser sí o
Oh my
no?
God.
¿Me vas a reventar la bomba o no?
Negativo.
Bueno.
Bueno.
Entonces tú aquí el próximo viernes. Vienes calientito.
Me come there when?
I said
For
you
what?
and I here next Friday. Be warm.
Be warm. Yes. See, mommy.
Okay.
See, this is proof that their plan to drive a wedge between the Hispanic and Black community will never work.
Facts. You can never pry a Latino away from a real nigga.
Yo, he had that one in the chamber.
Oh my goodness
Yo,
gracious.
that was too good.
That's no joke. I need some water. Bueno, pues, with that being said, ahora nos vamos. Hotep, tú eres mi corazón de melón. Yo te veo next Friday. I can't say that in English because it doesn't sound the same. It's like, certain words that we use, like, you know how I guess in English you would probably say like my love, babe, or, like those little words. In Spanish, we have different ones.
Okay. Mucho besos, mommy.
Oh, muy caliente aquí.
I got the app. I got the Babbel app on my phone. I open it like once a month, man.
Está caliente aquí. ¿Estás caliente tú? Un poquito.
I open it. I ain't paid a full subscription. I got the free version.
My
You could
goodness gracious.
It's like $100. They sent me a coupon. They said $100 for life. And I was like, man, I ain't got $100 right now. Car payment due or some more shit. So I passed up on it.
I want you to learn a full a sentence in Spanish for next week, and then I'll come up and
I got one right now.
In Spanish?
En español.
Okay, dímelo, papi, en español.
Yo quiero comer su chocha.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
Yo. That's all I know how to say. They taught me this in freshman year of college. That's it, man. That's all I got.
No seas animal. Respeta a la mujer, Hotep.
I can't just sound like an animal to a woman. Is that what you said?
I said, don't be an animal. Respect the woman, Hotep. See, in Spanish, it sounds better. In English, it just sounds like ill. En español es like, apacíguate, calmadito, te ves más bonito. No seas animal con las mujeres, okay? Okay. You see how it's like different in Spanish, and in English, I tell you, you're going to be like, screw you.
It's completely different in Spanish.
Yeah. It sounds like more endearing, more like, okay, can we go cuddle now? Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna somebody said translate Hotep. No, I can't translate that. That's just, we're gonna get in trouble with the sponsors. Hoppy's not gonna be too happy about that. We need a happy Hoppy. We need happy Hoppy.
Yeah, that sentence he said, we will not translate that sentence, but it would Hotep Jesus. What is your saying? Hotep Jesus that you play that.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Guys, if you did not take your Apex today, please visit menoforder.com. Take your Apex, because we know that every Friday, Hotep is going to come hot, heavy, and ready. Caliente, muy caliente por la muchacha latina porque se tomó su Apex. So, compra tu Apex. I even said
take your Apex. I love it. We might have to do some Hispanic advertising.
Yes, y cuando tomas tu Apex, tu pajarito quiere volar para arriba. If you take your Apex, your birdie wants to fly high.
Yeah, make that birdie fly.
On that note, Landy, Hotep, thank you for joining me tonight. It was a pleasure to have you both. I really wanted to go in very deep tonight into those conspiracy theories, Iran, Israel, but I think you guys held me back a little bit. But it's all good. Remember, this is a nightly recap powered by Hoppy. No, sponsored by Hoppy and sponsored by the GNN Gokhshtein News Network. This is Hotep Jesus, very hot and caliente chocolate, chocolatito, pa tu boquita. And then we have Landy over here. Landy, Hotep, any last words to our audience?
I just want to say hello to my alien babe. I can't wait to meet you. My blue boo.
Your boo boo. Landy, what about you?
I just hope that everyone has a wonderful weekend, and that's all, folks. That's it.
On that note, don't do anything that all three of us wouldn't do.
Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world. Taking my time to perfect the beat, and I still got love for the streets. I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.